Hey guys, so I've just finished watching X-Men First Class on 4K HDR. Absolutely stunning movie. X-Men franchise has been one of my favourite franchises since 2000 when the first X-Men movie came out, headed by Bryan Singer with Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen in the lead roles. And Hugh Jackman with his star turn as Wolverine. I've been an absolute fan of the franchise. X-Men, X-Men 2, X-Men 3, Wolverine. 2011 rolls around and it's time for a soft reboot. So Matthew Vaughn gets involved and we get X-Men First Class, which is a prequel in the strongest sense of the word. Also a soft reboot where they kind of really needed to reinvigorate the franchise after X-Men 3 and the failure of X-Men Origins Wolverine. They really needed to kind of wipe the slate clean, start again, because the X-Men franchise is very, very, very valuable to Sony and Marvel, and they really needed to right the ship. So with Matthew Vaughn involved, who is a fantastic writer-director in his own right, course-corrected the franchise, reinvigorated it with some new blood and put it into a new setting. So putting X-Men First Class into the 60s, we had the whole groovy baby vibe and we had a fantastic movie on our hands. Matthew Vaughn also is responsible for Kick-Ass and the Kingsman movies and Stardust. He produced Eddie the Eagle, the Fantastic Four reboot, but we won't go there. He's also potentially in the running as a, hopefully, potential candidate to direct the next standalone Superman movie. So he's hoping for that because the caliber of his films is just phenomenal. He really has quite a grasp on comic book lore. So if he's able to do to Superman what he's done with X-Men, that'll be fantastic. If you've not seen Stardust as well, based on a Neil Gaiman novel, it's a fantasy story, also starring Henry Cavill in a supporting role. Check it out. It is a fantastic film. It's really, really cool, starring Claire Danes and Charlie Cox from Daredevil. High recommend. Getting back into X-Men, we've had a recast, so we've now got James McAvoy as Professor X. We have Michael Fassbender as Magneto, Jennifer Lawrence as Mystique in a star-making turn once again. Kevin Bacon as Sebastian Shaw, just chewing up the scenery. I love seeing Kevin Bacon turn up on film. Rose Byrne as Moira McTaggart, Oliver Platt as a man in black suit, Jason Fleming as Azrael, who is also one of those character actors that keeps turning up and you just fall in love with him. Nicholas Hoult as Hank the Beast, Eddie Gathegi as Darwin, Lucas Till as Alex Summers. I still haven't really got into MacGyver, man, I'm really sorry. Well, even the mighty Michael Ironside turns up in this as a cameo, as a general, as a captain in a ship. So the cast for this is absolutely stellar. It's a fantastic ensemble and it's just what the X-Men franchise is all about. It's always about not one lead character, it's about the whole team. Although the standouts do kind of step up and take ownership of the movies in subsequent sequels. We saw it happen with Hugh Jackman in the original X-Men. The Wolverine character became so popular and Jackman became such a superstar. We ended up seeing the majority of the X-Men sequels kind of end up revolving around Wolverine. We will see the same thing here in the prequel trilogy with Jennifer Lawrence in her role as Mystique. In this film itself, she's not quite the superstar that she's going to become, so it is more about the ensemble, about the whole team coming together and doing their thing. In the subsequent sequels from this one, Jennifer Lawrence's star power is going to increase. Her willingness to actually partake in these movies may kind of decline a little bit and she starts phoning in performances, but we'll talk about those when we get to them. But the movies become a bit more Mystique-centric, which is not necessarily a good thing, but hey, we're going to roll with it, and we'll get to those movies, as I said, when we get there. So with this movie, basically, Sebastian Shaw, Kevin Bacon, is an evil German Nazi bastard who has got young Magneto, Eric Lenscher, who is just a kid in concentration camps, and basically, the evil bastard Sebastian Shaw kills his mother in front of him, or behind him, while trying to make him use his magnetic powers to move a coin. Of course, he kind of discovers that anger and rage is what triggers the kid to use his powers. So straight off the bat, Sebastian Shaw is a complete prick. Also sending Magneto on a lifelong mission of revenge, trying to track down Sebastian Shaw, whose powers, by the way, are the ability to absorb energy. So put a grenade in his hand, it will explode, he'll absorb the energy and he uses that to stay young, and he will also throw that back at you tenfold. So Sebastian Shaw is on a world domination quest, trying to take over as much of the world as he can, leading to the finale of this movie as set in the Cuban Missile Crisis, but luckily the X-Men will save the day. Also focusing on Professor X, Xavier, Charles Xavier, and young Raven, Mystique, meeting at a very young age when Raven breaks into Xavier's house trying to get some food, but they form a young friendship, which is actually interesting because in the X-Men movies, Charles Xavier, played by Patrick Stewart, and Mystique, played by Rebecca Romijn, have a pretty obvious age difference. So I love how they kind of they drop a line in this movie where Mystique is actually aging a lot slower than normal human race. So there we go. So they met at a young age. They form a brother-sister relationship. And Moira McTaggart is on a case for the FBI, and she discovers that Sebastian Shaw is involved in getting some shady dealings involving the military, trying to get his way and establish control of the world. But Moira kind of stumbles across this at the Hellfire Club and subsequently needs somebody who has got experience in genetic mutation and DNA a la mutants after she sees Azazel, played by Jason Fleming, evaporate. Well, he vanishes. That's what his power is in front of her. And oh man, this movie stumbles badly in one area only, and that is in the casting of Emma Frost, played by January Jones. She turns into diamonds and she's a telepath. Special mention, January Jones of Mad Men. Her acting in this movie is just absolutely atrocious. She does not belong in this movie. Watch this flick, watch her performance, and tell me that I'm wrong. Damn, she's just, every time I see her, she just takes me right out of it. She's absolutely fucking horrible. God damn. So anyway, Moira McTaggart sees Emma Frost and Azazel do their thing, and she needs to speak to Xavier. She gets involved with him, and bang, we start getting the formulation of the X-Men. Michael Fassbender's Magneto is currently tracking down Sebastian Shaw, and there is an amazing scene on a boat where Magneto essentially sinks the thing, or tries to sink the thing by using the anchor, and he's strangling the ship trying to get to Sebastian Shaw. Sebastian Shaw and Emma Frost jump into a submarine and chuff off, and Magneto, using his magnetism power, latches onto the submarine and is pulling him along, and he's gonna drown. So Xavier jumps in the water and convinces him to let it go, and that's when the two guys meet and they start their long-term friendship, working together alongside the FBI in recruiting and searching for mutants using Cerebro, created by Beast. So we start getting the team together. There's a montage. There's a fantastic cameo by Hugh Jackman, and just awesome. We meet Angel Salvador, played by the great Zoe Kravitz, who is working as pretty much a stripper. I meet Cassidy, played by Caleb Landry Jones, who becomes Banshee, who's got the power of a really loud voice. We also meet Darwin, played by Edie Kathegi. Hope that name's right, man, I'm sorry. Who can basically calls himself Darwin because he can adapt to any peril that is befalling him. We meet Cyclops' brother, Alex Summers, who's also got the ability to shoot crazy powerful laser beams. And of course, Nicholas Hoult as Hank, who becomes Beast, and Mystique by the wonderful Jennifer Lawrence. So the team get together, Sebastian Shaw becomes aware of them and starts coming after them, starts to recruit members onto his own side, and there's some massive fights, and all ends on Cuba with the military ships, the Russians and the Americans, about to blow each other up, and the X-Men are involved in the middle with Sebastian Shaw. So the team have got to come together and save the day. That's the essence of the story. That's my little drivel of a plot. Watch the movie. It's way more fun than I make it sound, but it's really fun. With Matthew Vaughn behind the helm, he just has got such a grasp on the superheroes and the X-Men, and just crafts such a wonderful story. Gets really great performances out of the cast. There's a scene in this where we have Charles Xavier and Magneto just talking, and having James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender in these roles. Oh man, I could just really see these two in Star Wars as Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker. That would have been such beautiful casting. McAvoy is Obi-Wan Kenobi and Fassbender is Anakin, and one's training the other in the ways of the Force. It's just they should have done it. man, we got what we got. No, but we got Ewan McGregor. So the movie is really, really entertaining from start to finish. It's a fantastic reinvigoration to the franchise. And the 4K HDR, so if you're thinking about double dipping, to be honest, if you're a fan of this series, you're already going to have them all on Blu-ray or on DVD. So do you want to double dip and go into the 4K? Hell yes you do. The HDR in this movie just is absolutely stunning. Towards the end, when they're in the black and yellow suits, the yellows just pop off the screen. The Cuba scenes at the end where they're on the beach, it's just absolutely gorgeous to see. The special effects just leap off the screen. There is some grain in some of the film. Not an old film, but there is some grain in this one. But the night scenes, like I said before, the scene where Michael Fassbender is actually attacking Sebastian Shaw on his boat, and it's all shot at night, and Michael Fassbender's character, Magneto's actually in the water, and it's nighttime, and it's just so, the blacks are just so inky black and crystal clear, and it just leaps off the screen. So yeah, I do recommend, if you want to double dip, you do so. It looks stunning on 4K HDR, and I'm really looking forward to seeing Days of Future Past and Apocalypse also in the 4K, which I have got to review for later. So yeah, Matthew Vaughn has delivered a fantastic superhero film. The X-Men movies were course corrected after the stumble of X-Men 3 and X-Men Origins Wolverine. It brought fun back to the franchise, and then it continues on. We'll see how we go with the next movies. Opinions might change, but this one was an absolute blast. I remember coming out of the theatre just loving it and falling in love with the franchise once again. Even though there was the whole shake-up of the cast, because you did fall in love with the previous cast in the original movies, but they do such a good job here, you can't help but fall in love with them. It's its own thing, and it's starting something new, and it's fantastic. Anyway guys, thank you so much for checking out my channel. I hope you enjoyed that little review of X-Men First Class on the 4K HDR format. I really recommend you check it out. Throw me a like, throw me a subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video. Thanks for watching.